Hello friends, today in this tutorial I will be discussing about the event loop, call stack, web APIs and task queue, microtask queue, call stack queue, all these concepts in JavaScript. So these concepts are very much important guys if you are studying JavaScript, and if you don't know the basics of JavaScript then it becomes very much uh, and you need to understand these concepts before you do any sort of topics. So I really want to teach these topics guys, so that's why I this will be a Blackboard video. So basically if you face any sort of problem you can ask in the comment section. So let's start this session guys. So basically this will be a Blackboard video, so hopefully you can see whatever I'm typing here guys. So you can just tell me in the comment section if you can see here what I am typing here. So first of all guys, we will be saying the event loop. So let me just, yeah, let me see, we will be seeing the event loop guys, event loop in JavaScript. So if you face any sort of problem guys, please tell me in the comment section. So first of all guys, we will be seeing what is event loop in JavaScript. So let me just write the heading here, event loop. So event loop is the most important thing guys in if you are looking, uh, let me just write event loop in JavaScript. So event loop basically guys, everything it is controlled by event loop out there. So inside your program, so inside your JavaScript application, it is also called as main UI thread. If you see, it is also called as your main thread. So as you all know guys, JavaScript is a single thread language. It's basically, it can only perform one uh, operation at a time, one instruction at a time. So it's a single threaded language. So if you go to an interview and basically someone asks you that if JavaScript is a multi-threaded or single-threaded, so you will be able to just tell them that JavaScript is single-threaded. So that's my point here. So after this, guys, I will be showing you. It's a single thread, and basically event loop is also called as the main thread. You can see that. So it controls the UI of the application. UI. UI, as you all know, basically it's a user interface. Interface. So everything is controlled inside the user interface. So we can change the color here. So now guys, what we will be seeing right here, basically uh, it's a main thread. It controls the user interface of your application. So let's suppose we have two buttons out there. We have this button, we have this button. So let's suppose we have two buttons out there. This is button 1, this is button 2. So basically guys, if you click this button inside your browser, what will happen? So for both of these buttons we have attached the doc if you see, we have attached the on-click event handler. So whenever you click your buttons, it will execute some kind of a function. So in this way, the main thread will not be interrupted and your application will run smoothly. But let me show you a code example, guys. In that, the main threaded will be interrupted and your application will be in hang. Let me show you a very simple example, code example. So this code example is very easy, guys. So let me show you. So let me write this statement. First statement, we have the console log. So we have printing out something on the screen. Let's suppose hello world. This is one statement. Close this. Let me just decrease the pen size, guys. I think it's way more. Let me decrease it to like this. So this is, guys, we have written one statement console log. Now let me write the second statement, which is this time we will have a simple while loop. So we will have a while loop, guys. So we will put a condition here which is called as true. So we will put this condition of true, and inside this curly brackets we will just write a simple statement here which is called as console log. You don't need to write anything here. I am just writing this here. This is a loop. And once again, at the bottom you can write anything here. Let's suppose again a third console log statement. I can say here and. So just tell me, guys, what will happen here. So basically the first statement here, if you see right here, if you run this program, what will happen? So the JavaScript will go here. It will execute this first line. It will print out hello world on the screen. So in the console. But whenever it goes to this third line, which is this line, when it encounters this while loop here, this JavaScript, so it is infinite. This condition is infinite. So we are not changing this value from true to false. So this while loop will execute infinite number of times. So it will again call itself. It will again print out console log loop. So basically it's a infinite loop kind of a situation. So in that case, our main UI thread will be completely hanged. You can simply say it will be completely hanged, your main UI thread in this scenario. So it can't execute this statement, which is this third statement, console log end. So in that situation, your application will not be responsive. So let's suppose you have any button on the screen, the user button. User will not be able to click the buttons. So you will not be able to do anything because your application will be perfectly hanged. So in this case, your application will be hanged. So this is not perfect behavior, guys. You need to run your application very smoothly. For that, we need to have some kind of concept here. So if you're watching it for the very first time, guys, please hit that like button, subscribe the channel as well. So let me show you the solution for this. So what will happen? So now we have the solution here. As you all know, we have two types of approaches here. First is the synchronous approach of writing code versus asynchronous. So both these approaches have its own advantages and disadvantages, guys, but in many scenarios you will not be able to write synchronous code because the last disadvantage that I shown you, it will perfectly hang your code, because if you encounter any sort of infinite while loop, then it becomes very much difficult. So now for asynchronous code, guys, the first concept that you need to learn is the callback function. So callback function, guys, what are callback functions? Let me show you a very basic example. Callback functions are those functions, guys, basically if you're doing any sort of, let's suppose I take example here of set timeout. Set timeout. So I know that you have used this function, guys. So basically inside this function, it takes any function here, put a comma, and basically, guys, it takes a delay here, delay function. So I can put here 2000 millisecond. So what it simply means, guys, it is saying that you need to wait for 2 seconds, and after these 2 seconds you can function execute this function. So basically this JavaScript will not wait for 2 seconds, because if the JavaScript waits, then your application will be hanged, because as I already told you, JavaScript is a single threaded language. It can only execute only one single instructions at a time. So what it will do, guys, basically this is a callback function. So you can see it has passed this delay, which is 2 milliseconds. So it will wait, basically it will transfer this function to a location in the memory, and after 2 seconds this callback function, whatever you have defined inside this, let's suppose I defined a console log statement that hi. So after 2 seconds, this console log statement will automatically get executed. This is called as callback. So here we are explicitly define this callback here, and whatever code that I need to run. So this is asynchronous code. This is not synchronous, because we are not executing the instruction in a sequential manner. Let me tell you a very basic example of it, and to clear out your doubt. So basically we have a console statement, console log hello world. This is the first statement. And then, guys, we define this function, which is set timeout. This is a callback function. And we define this function here. We put a delay of 2000 millisecond. And here we define console log uh, callback. So you can see that, guys, we have two statements out there. First one is this one console log, and second is the callback function here. So now the third line, we will simply again write this console log end. So what will happen, guys, if you execute this program inside your browser? What will happen? This first line will execute. Honestly, let me show you the output. So what output will be there? So as you execute, your first will be hello world will be printed out. And now what will happen, guys? Basically, it will go to this line here, which is called as set timeout. It will see it's a callback function, and it should wait 2 seconds. After that, it will print out this line, which is callback. And in the meantime, basically the JavaScript will move to this line, and it will see that this line is not a callback function, it's just a single line. So now it will print out this one. You can see the second line, it will be printed out, which is end. And after waiting for 2 seconds, guys, automatically this callback function will execute, and then the third result will be callback. So this is will be the actual result, guys. Basically, now let me show you how basically it happens in the background. So there are many things which are involved inside your JavaScript. If you go to an interview, you should definitely explain all these things with examples. So now in the next slide, let me show you how these things happen in a real life situation. So please hit that like button, guys. Subscribe the channel as well if you're watching it for the very first time. So now let me clear out the screen here. So here, guys, what will happen now? Basically, uh, inside this we have some concepts which are needs to be first concept is, guys, call stack. In the previous video I have discussed this whenever I made this call stack. Basically, guys, basically it's a like this, it's a rectangle here which is there inside the browser, and basically it has a global execution context. Already the main program is stored inside this. So what is global execution context? So global execution context, guys, it represents the program where you stored all your variables, strings, arrays. So here we can declare some variables. B is equal to 2. So this is allocated using the heap memory. If you know what is heap memory inside your data structures, you will perfectly know what is heap memory. So all these variables are initialized this early on. So now what will happen, guys? So whatever any function, let me take any function here. Let's suppose let me take a function of add. So this is the function. So inside this function, guys, let me take a different example. Statement.